got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean in my soul.
Today we are looking at Esther part 2. Matthew chapter 6 verses 19, 20 and 21. Lay up for yourself treasure in heaven, money that must not was the true love, and where thieves do not break it, nor steal. For where treasure is, there will your heart be also. Bye-bye.
Hey boys and girls, we had a fun time recently. And from today and onward, we want to share some of that experience with you. Have you ever went camping with your family? Tell me some of the things you have done on your camping trip. Wow! Now I want to show you some of the things we did while we camped.
Looking up from the valley of fear, you can see death off in the distance, and you're about to lose heart right here. But don't ever give in, don't ever give up. God is with you, and you'll overcome. The mountains will tell you that you can't make it over. He will try to convince you that it's way too high. Oh, you feel defeated. Know that God keeps His promise. So you just try to remember all the trials He's brought you through. And when His power gave you strength for the journey, the very hour you needed it to. So don't feel discouraged, 'cause time after time, God never fails you. So go on and climb. The mountains will tell you that you can make it over. He will try to convince you that it's way too high, or you feel defeated. Know that God keeps His promise. So you tell the mountains just how big your God is. Oh, the mountains will tell you that you can make it over. So you tell the mountains just how big your God is.
Nature testify of God.
Yay!
Hi boys and girls. Today we are looking at hermit crabs. Now a hermit crab is a crustacean, which means that they are related to crabs, lobsters and shrimp. Although it has crab in its name, a hermit crab out of its shell looks more similar to a lobster than actually a crab. Now this is cool, right? Because when we look at this creature that the Lord has created, we could see the handiwork of God. Now hermit crabs, as I've said before, are crustaceans. There are lots and lots of things that we can learn about this hermit crab. They have jointed limbs, claws, they are even hard exoskeleton, eyes like stalks, and 2 sets of antennae. Crabs interact with each other and are often found in large groups. Let me caution you boys and girls, I won't advise you to play with these hermit crabs if you see one. I know of a little child who had a very bad experience with one. So if you see it on the beach, please leave it alone. Now it is said that these hermit crabs are invertebrates, omnivores, they can live up to 40 years, and they weigh from 1.3 ounces to 11 pounds. Now wow, this is amazing. Now let your mommy or your daddy tell you what is an invertebrate and what is an omnivore. Did you know that there are over 800 species of hermit crabs worldwide? What a mighty God we serve. And almost all are ocean dwellers. Though people are likely most familiar with the dozen semi-terrestrial species, called land hermit crabs, which are often kept as pets, there's only one freshwater hermit crab. Did you know that? Now, these crustaceans have been misnamed for two reasons. First, they are not true crabs like blue crabs, in that they don't have a uniformal hard exoskeleton and can't grow their own shells. Instead, hermit crabs have a hard exoskeleton on the front part of their bodies, but a soft tail on the other half, which they protect using the discarded shell of other animals like whales. Hi boys and girls, and welcome to another character building story. The name of this story is Do You Love Back? Now it's a question that you need to ask yourself. Do you love back? Backward and forward in her little rocking chair went Alice Lee, now clasping her beautiful waxen doll to her bosom and singing low sweet lullabies, then smoothing its flaxen curls, patting its rosy cheeks and whispering softly, "I love you, pretty doll," and anon casting wistful glance towards her mother, who sat in the bay window, busily writing. After what seemed to be a very long time to the little girl, Mrs. Lee pushed aside the papers and looked up and said pleasantly, "I am through for today, Alice. You may now make all the noise you choose." Scarcely were the words uttered ere the little one had flown to her and nestled her head in her loving heart, said earnestly, "I'm so glad. I wanted to love you so much, Mama." "Did you, darling?" And she clasped her tenderly. "I am very glad my Alice loves me so. But I fancy you were not very lonely while I wrote. You and Dolly seem to be having a happy time together." "Yes, we had, Mama, but I get tired after a while of loving her." "And why?" "Oh, because she never loves me back. And is that, sorry, why you love me? That is one why, Mama, but not the first. Is one of the best. And what is the first and the best? Why, Mama? Don't you guess? And the blue eyes grew very bright and earnest. It's because you loved me when I was too little to love you back. That is why I love you so. We love because he first loved or first unselfishly loves us, whispered the mother, and fervently she thanked God for the little child teacher. Reader and listener, God loves you. Do you love him back? Esther chapter 2. After these things, when the wrath of King Ahasuerus was appeased, he remembered Vashti and what she had done, and what was decreed against her. Then said the king's servant that ministered unto him, Let there be fair young virgins sought for the king, and let the king appoint officers in all the provinces of his kingdom, that they may gather together all the fair young virgins unto Shushan the palace, to the house of the women, unto the custody of Hegi the king's chamberlain, keeping of the women, or keeper of the woman, and let their things for purification be given them. And let the maiden which pleased the king be queen instead of Vashti. And the thing pleased the king, and he did so. Now in Shushan the palace there was a certain Jew, whose name was Mordecai, the son of Jair, the son of Shimei, the son of Kesh, a Benjamite, who had been carried away from Jerusalem with the captivity which had been carried away with Jeconiah, king of Judah, whom Nebuchadnezzar the king of Babylon had carried away. And he brought up Hadassah, that is Esther, his uncle's daughter, for she had neither father nor mother, and the maid was fair and beautiful, whom Mordecai, when her father and mother were dead, took for his own daughter. So it came to pass, when the king's commandments had and his decree was heard, and when many maidens were gathered together unto Shushan the palace, to the custody of Hegai, that Esther was brought also unto the king's house, to the custody of Hegai, keeper of the women. And the maiden pleased him, and she obtained kindness of him, and he speedily gave her things for purification, with such things as behold or belonging to her, and 7 maidens, which were meet to be given her out of the king's house. And he preferred her and her maids unto the best place of the house of the women. Esther had not shown her people nor her kindred, nor Mordecai, for Mordecai had charged her that she should not show it. And Mordecai walked every day before the court of the women's house, to know how Esther did, and what should become of her. Now stay tuned, boys and girls, for part 2 of this story. I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean. I've got love like an ocean in my soul.